Hello, welcome to the Polyglot Files. My name is Michael, and today I am detailing how I plan to master the Spanish language in 1 year. In this video, I am going to talk about my previous experiences with the Spanish language, my motivation for learning, as well as the plan for how I will learn this language from scratch, or almost scratch, in 2024. At the end, I will also show you my baseline ability in Spanish after having studied it for only 1 month. If you have been following my channel for a while, you're probably asking yourself one question: why Spanish? Or rather, why Spanish now? It's no secret that learning languages is a beloved hobby of mine as well as a professional pursuit. Spanish, however, is a language that, for one reason or another, I've never really committed to learning. So why didn't I think to study Spanish before? Well, truthfully, I didn't study Spanish for 2 reasons. And the first reason is that I really wasn't interested. There have been many languages over the years that have caught my attention and sustained my enthusiasm, but Spanish was never really one of them. It wasn't until I went to Costa Rica last winter that I finally fell for the language. The second reason why I never really studied Spanish was that it seemed too familiar. That may sound weird, but as a speaker of French and Italian, Spanish was a language that I already kind of knew because of how similar it was to those 2 languages. In a way, I found learning Spanish tedious because it felt like French with longer words or Italian in a different accent. Because of Spanish's similarity to these other 2 languages, during early attempts to study Spanish, I was actually pretty bored with the learning process at the beginning, and that would cause me to lose interest in the long term. It wasn't until I realized that I shouldn't be learning Spanish as a beginner that my excitement and interest in the language began to increase. As I previously mentioned, I'm not studying Spanish as a beginner. In fact, I would classify myself a false beginner. That basically means that because of the lexical similarity between Spanish, French, and Italian, I could understand basic Spanish text and slowly spoken Spanish without ever having formally studied the language. That also means that instead of choosing a Spanish beginner course and starting from zero, I plan on learning Spanish through an immersive learning process. This will keep me from getting bored, as well as grow my language knowledge in an organic way. One of the ways I'm doing that is with italki, the sponsor of today's video. In fact, I am taking Spanish conversation practice lessons with a native Spanish speaker and teacher of the language. This allows me to train my ear to the language, grow my vocabulary and grammar knowledge in an organic way, as well as use Spanish in the wild, in a real Spanish conversation. The best part is that italki lessons are personalized and one-on-one, and my Spanish teacher also speaks English, so they can explain to me different vocabulary choices and Spanish grammar rules in my native tongue. That means that I get the most effective lesson possible that is catered toward my needs, interests, and goals. These lessons have been fantastic for immersing me in the Spanish language, as well as improving my listening and speaking goals. Check out this clip from a real lesson I took.
Bueno, ¿y dónde vives?
Vivo en Canadá, soy canadiense.
Ah, perfecto. ¿Y cuántos años tienes, Michael?
Tengo 32 años.
Ay, muy bien. ¿Y cuál es tu trabajo? ¿Cuál es tu profesión?
Soy profesor. Soy profesor de francés para los bambinos, los niños, a una escuela.
¡Wow! ¡Qué bien! ¿Trabajas en una escuela en primaria?
Sí. Los niños tienen 8 y 9 años.
Bueno, y cuéntame, Michael, ¿tienes algún pasatiempo? ¿Algo que te gusta hacer todos los días o en tu tiempo libre?
Me gusta leer los libros. Me gusta aprender los idiomas. Y me gusta mirar la televisión.
Ahora, Michael, ¿tú tienes algún mejor amigo o hermano o hermana?
¿Yo?
Ajá.
Sí, tengo un hermano.
Ok, ¿cómo se llama tu hermano?
Mi hermano se llama Matthew.
Perfecto. Vamos a ponerlo aquí. Matthew. Ok, ¿y de dónde es Matthew?
Matthew es de Canadá. Es
De Canadá.
canadiense.
Perfecto. Ahora, ¿cuántos años tiene Matthew?
Matthew tiene 29 años.
29 años. Perfecto. ¿Y cuál es su profesión de Matthew? ¿En qué trabaja?
No sé explicar su trabajo. Trabaja en una empresa de los aviones.
Ajá. ¿Piloto?
No es piloto.
Okay.
Trabaja a un computador para enseñar los pilotos a
volar.
volar. Sí.
Como entrenador.
Sí,
Como
entrenador. With over 30,000 language teachers worldwide, italki offers lessons in almost every language imaginable. I can schedule a lesson for any time in my busy schedule, and I can take the lesson anywhere as long as I have an internet connection. I can also take my language lessons on an as-needed basis. There are no subscription fees, so I just pay for the lessons that I need. As an exclusive to viewers of this video, you can get $5 on italki for free when you purchase $10 using my promo code POLYGLOTFILES. Click on the link in the description to start your language learning journey, but hurry! The discount is only available for the first 50 users. In addition to italki lessons, I also have a range of resources that I will be using to master the Spanish language. The overarching theme of my self-study program is comprehensible input. For those who don't know, comprehensible input is a language learning technique developed by linguist Stephen Krashen. At its core, comprehensible input is an immersive language learning strategy, and I use engaging, authentic content that is just above my current level of Spanish so that I get challenged and I learn new vocabulary, but not content that is so advanced that I get discouraged. I mainly use comprehensible input when I read Spanish texts and listen to Spanish audio. For reading, I have been using short texts that I find online and then creating vocabulary lists based on them. I am also reading a Spanish novel, Cajas de Cartón by Francisco Jimenez. While I'm reading though, I don't write down every single word I don't know. I mainly focus on words that I think contribute to the main idea of the text or words that I notice are being repeated over and over again. I'm not currently using flashcards for Spanish, but I do review my vocabulary lists pretty frequently. For listening, I have been watching YouTube videos. Surprise, surprise. My current favorite channels include Dreaming Spanish as well as Easy Spanish. These two channels are fantastic for creating comprehensible input experiences, but also being at a level that I think is appropriate for what I'm able to handle in Spanish right now. Further, I have also decided to focus on Mexican Spanish. While I like the sound of Castilian Spanish, I am more likely to encounter Latin American Spanish in my everyday life, and I'm more likely to travel to a place that speaks Latin American Spanish natively. Lastly, I am also using some Spanish textbooks. This may be controversial to say, considering all the promoting I did of the comprehensible input method, but I still believe that there is a place for grammar when you're studying a foreign language. Currently, I am using Complete Spanish from Teach Yourself. I have used Teach Yourself courses before, mainly for Afrikaans and Danish, but I am using the course for Spanish to fill in gaps in vocabulary that I may not be able to get from comprehensible input alone. Secondly, I am also using Barron's Guide for Mastering Spanish Grammar for those more rudimentary grammar learning drills and explanations. And now, the moment of truth. I started studying Spanish on January 1st, 2024, and this is my progress after having studied it for only 1 month. Hola, me llamo Michael y soy de Canadá. Vivo en Canadá y soy canadiense. Vivo en una casa en una ciudad cerca de Toronto. Soy profesor. Enseño en un programa de inmersión para los niños. Los niños y yo hablan francés y todas las temas son en francés. Puedo hablar inglés. Inglés es mi idioma materno, pero puedo hablar francés, italiano, afrikaans y alemán. Quiero aprender el español este año. 1 month down, 11 to go. I am excited to dive deeply into the Spanish language, and it'll be pretty cool to look back at this video to see how far I've come. In fact, you can tune in January 2025 to see how successful I've been at mastering Spanish in 1 year. You can also follow me on social media. I have a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram, and a new TikTok account. As usual, thank you for watching the Polyglot Files, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!